The following podcast is brought to you by the Geeks 2 Network, and all opinions are those of the hosts. Listener discretion is advised. It's time to talk wrestling. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
Welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty, of course. I am joined, as I usually will be, by Ike Isaacs, my producer, man behind the board, working the knobs, whatever else he does. How you doing, Ike?
I'm pretty fabulous today.
Yeah, you sound like it. So, the first question we always get asked when we do something new like this is, so what is the Dave Dynasty Show about? Well, of course, anybody that follows me on social media, anybody that knows me, will know that the podcast will be very heavy on pro wrestling. I am a former pro wrestling manager, a former pro wrestler, a former pro wrestling promoter. So obviously it'll be very, very heavy on pro wrestling, but it'll also touch on some other things because I do have other interests. I have interest in comic books, movies, music, you name it. Whatever's on my mind, I will talk about. I am also a former comic book retailer, a former comic book writer. I have done lots of different things in my days, so there could be a wide plethora of topics, but like I said, it will primarily be on wrestling. This premiere episode will primarily be an introductory episode. In future episodes, there will be lots of interviews with different talent, different personalities, different people in the world. No interview on this episode. We are going to kind of introduce you to what we are and what we'll be doing, and we will be discussing a very relevant topic in wrestling. So, Isaac, are we ready to roll?
Yes, we're ready to do this podcast 101 with Professor Dave.
All right, this is going to be fun with this guy. So, Ike, our topic that we're going to discuss is the either impending doom or Phoenix Rising of TNA wrestling. It is the topic that everybody's talking about in wrestling, and as we sit here, we're recording this on Sunday, and tonight TNA has a pay-per-view, Bound for Glory.
Maybe. Maybe.
No, officially the pay-per-view is happening.
Okay.
So, here's what we know. There's a lot of crap on the internet about this topic. So, let's narrow down to what we actually know. We know that as of right now, TNA has got some funding from somebody to at least run the pay-per-view. Yeah. According to Dixie Carter, they will also be doing their TV tapings over the next couple of days. So that means TNA in some aspect will be around for a while because if they get the TV tapings, they'll still be on TV for a while. But we do know the pay-per-view is happening. We don't know who donated the money. There has been rumors that it was WWE because WWE has bought them, so they are just getting this pay-per-view in the books. I don't know. There's nothing confirmed about that. I don't think I believe that. Of course, Billy Corgan, who's been working for TNA, has an interest in buying it, but nothing has been hammered out yet. He himself has been very active in interviews and such, and said that he does have an interest, but nothing can happen this quick. So, and I don't think he's got that much money just lying around, or else there wouldn't have been the issue probably wouldn't have came to light at all. So. But
would have nipped that in the butt real early.
Well, you would hope. But
yeah, well.
But here's my opinions, and that's all they are. They're just opinions. So take them for what you will. Number one, I'm not a fan of TNA. I don't like the product. Outside of a few guys, I have been very, very much in love with the broken Matt Hardy and all of his stuff lately. Mm-hmm. And there are a few guys that I like there, but.
He was
overall,
great on that podcast we listened to. That was absolutely fantastic.
And but overall, I've not been a fan of TNA's product. However, that in no way, shape, or form does that mean I want them to go out of business. And for a couple of different reasons. Number one, because regardless, you put the wrestling aside, it is a business. It is a company, which means they do have employees, which means there are people whose livelihood depends on TNA. Therefore, because of these people, I don't want them to go out of business because I don't want to see people lose their jobs, especially some of the wrestlers. It's just one less place for guys to work if they go out of business. So I don't want to see them go out. I do hope that regardless of what happens, their product is improving. So I do hope that it continues to improve if this all sees its way through. So I also hope then, in that same respect, that the WWE doesn't buy them, because if the WWE buys them, they're just going to close it up. All they want is the video library. There's no way they have any interest in TNA. Matter of fact, the rumor is that the offer they made is not even for the contract. It's just for the video library.
Yeah.
So I guess what we could see is an aspect of WWE buying the video library, that money going into fund an essentially almost new company with Billy Corgan at the head of it, but they wouldn't have all their video footage anymore, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it would work, I guess, but hopefully something comes through and they can stay open. But you have to wonder. Well, first of all, let's get your feedback, Ike. What do you think on this situation, on the, like I said, the impending doom or the Phoenix Rising of TNA Impact?
All right, so let me start off by saying that I obviously, if you don't know me, I do love wrestling as well. So I'm always open to trying new things. You know, I watch all the Lucha, watch all the New Japan, watch everything pretty much I can get my hands on if I can. And I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't really necessarily love TNA, but I wouldn't say I hate TNA. I'm kind of in between there. So that's my feelings on TNA. But like you said, there are some pretty good people. I think there are actually a couple good wrestlers that if they wanted to jump ship, I think WWE should sign them immediately. But I just think, like, personally, I think like it's been a downhill slide, you know, for a long time, and I feel like this is kind of like that final nail in the coffin for them, that we're going to try and get through these tapings, and then we're just going to have to sell out because they're not going to have the money to continue on.
Well, yeah, that's been the reoccurring thing with them for a while.
Yeah.
They've done this 2 or 3 times now, it seems like, and they somehow pull through long enough to survive a little bit, but what they really need is they need some investors, they need some backing to actually be able to be successful, not just get by. So, but you're right, it has been a downhill slide. So then let's talk about where we believe this downhill slide began, because at one time TNA was a very, very hot promotion.
Yeah, they were going to outdo WWE now.
They were, yeah, and I loved TNA at one point in time. But you have to understand, TNA began. They were essentially a division of the National Wrestling Alliance. They began as NWA, Total Nonstop Action, and their primary title was the NWA World Title.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
in the one retrospect, I think where they began, they had a little bit of that nostalgia. Some of these old time fans that remember the NWA, like the NWA, some of those guys, I believe, watched. But what really put TNA over the top and what allowed them to kind of pull away from the NWA and do their own thing were some of these young talents that they used, that they had signed. And essentially what they did is they would go out, they were kind of cherry picking some of the best indie guys out there and using them. And, you know, TNA was built on the backs of AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and Amazing Red and these guys. And it was growing. And the reason it was growing and the reason it was successful was because it was an alternative. And that is, if you look at some of the more successful companies out there, everybody needs to understand that anybody in the wrestling business, they're just working to be number 2. There's nobody in the world that's ever going to be able to touch WWE. They just need to accept that. WWE is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They're just not going to get there. They just need to work on being number 2 and being as big as they can be and as successful as they can be. Don't view themselves as direct competition to WWE, because that's not what they are, and that's not what they will ever be. So what they need to be is they need to be an alternative to WWE. They need to be something different for people to watch, and that's what they were. And if you look at all the successful companies that have these hot followings now, the Ring of Honors, the New Japans, the Pro Wrestling Guerrillas, and even the groups, you know, like PWG that are not huge, you know, the AAWs, the AIWs, all these groups, they're successful because they're different. They focus on different things. They all have their own little niche in the business, and they have their own approach, and it's different. It's an alternative. In my opinion, where TNA took this downside is they turned away from being different and something fresh and tried to be another WWE.
Yeah.
They started signing, and no disrespect to any of these guys, but they started signing Kurt Angle and Scott Steiner and Sting and Hulk Hogan and all these guys that were known for WWE and WCW, and thought they could achieve this huge success with these guys, and it just doesn't work that way. And that's not what they should have been striving for. And essentially, what, in my opinion, again, what TNA should get back to trying to be is they should try to be the most consistent and successful independent wrestling company in the United States. And what independent wrestling needs to be, and I include TNA in this, is it needs to, in essence, all these companies that are non-WWE, and I'll exclude Ring of Honor because they're kind of, in New Japan, they're kind of on a different level a little bit on their own.
Yeah.
But pretty much everybody else, they need to collaborate. They need to work together. And what I mean by that is not that they need to co-promote or they need to run shows together or anything like that, but they all need to understand that if they build talent in this country, it's going to help them all. Yeah. And too many of them want to pretend that they are the biggest thing and nobody else exists and nobody else is important. And they shouldn't approach it like that. If you sign, for an appearance, Joe Schmo off the East Coast, well, there's no point in not putting out there that he has excelled in X, Y, and Z promotions. And what you might do is you're either going to have fans that don't know who he is regardless, so it's not going to affect them, or you may have fans that are fans of these promotions that might say, oh, I'll come check him out because this guy's wrestled for them. But then it's helping those other companies too, because then some of these fans might say, oh, well, I like that guy. Let me check out these other groups, and they might buy a DVD or video on demand or whatever it might be. And in essence, you're helping that company, which is just in essence helping that guy that you're using. And it all feeds each other, and it all helps build each other. And unless it's somebody that you're directly in competition with in a nearby radius, they're not competition. Yeah. If you run a promotion in Indiana, per se, you're not in competition with somebody in Florida. It's not the same area. So if you use a guy that appears for somebody in Florida, well, you might as well help build them and build that company, and it's just only going to help yourself. So TNA should have been the top tier of that. They should have cherry-picked these top guys, used them, and what they needed to accept is that they were kind of in this situation to be smart financially, that eventually the talent and the stars they built eventually were going to outgrow them. And they're going to be signed by WWE. They're going to take the top guys. That's just the way it is. You're not going to be able to offer enough money to compete with that. So you just have to have that next level of guys ready to come in and fill behind them. And you just keep filling up behind, and it keeps working. And that's how independent wrestling works. There's always, independent wrestling always gets raped and all the talent taken by the WWE. And I know that's a horrible term. I should have used that. But they get everything taken by WWE and they can't do anything about it. They have no choice in the situation. And they just have to make new stars on the independent level, and they do. The talent is always there. It always comes through. So, to me, we were talking about when TNA started to go downhill, is when they thought they were bigger than they actually were. They should have just been this next level up from the independents. They should have used the independents as feeding them talent, and keep going with it. And they could have been that next step up for guys for a little more pay and a little more work, and that bridge between the independents and WWE. And they should have just been content being there, because there's nothing wrong. And that's what happens with all these companies when they try to. That's what happened to ECW. They got too big too quick, and they couldn't keep up with it. And that's what happens with all these companies. They can't just realize when they're at a point to be content, and they always get to a certain level of success, and they always want to think, oh, if we just do this, we can compete with WWE.
Yeah.
And they just can't. So, in my opinion, that's when it all went downhill. that's what, to me, the mindset that TNA needs to get back to have any sort of success, assuming they find financial backing to even get back to that. They have a TV time slot, and so they've got the venue to get their product out there. They just, to me, if they have financial backing going into these TV tapings, they need to overhaul the system.
Yeah, no.
And they need to just try a different approach, and they need to cut the garbage. They need to cut the trying to be WWE light and trying to be something, and they just need to be a good wrestling company, because that's the alternative is wrestling with less of the entertainment and more of the athletic, and that's what's successful in these day and age, and it's what's starting to bleed into WWE, and that's what they're starting to do too. So, but anyway, that's my opinion on the TNA situation. Do you have any opinions? Anything you'd like to add, Isaac, on that?
Yeah.
I know I rambled a little bit there, but
No, it's okay. No, I was going to say basically the same thing, really. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Oh, crap.
all right. Well, we've silenced Isaac with a technical difficulty.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. No, but I was going to say basically the same thing. I would totally agree with that. I think they're trying too hard to be like WWE, and there is no way you can actually be like WWE. But I have a special sort of hatred for one specific wrestler that they signed that kind of helped bury them a little bit. And I know this is kind of an unpopular. Okay, my mic's messing up again. Sorry. This is kind of an unpopular opinion, I guess, but I thought when they hired Hulk Hogan, I felt like that kind of screwed him.
Well, yeah. It always, because Hulk Hogan is what he is, but when he comes into these other companies, he wants to have too much control, and in my opinion, and they want to build off of him too much and put too much focus on him. And Hulk Hogan's at that stage of his career, or whatever you want to call it, where he's just an attraction every now and then, and he has been for a while, but they did that with a lot of guys, and
Ric Flair.
And the problem is, Ric Flair. And the problem is, though, when you sign these guys, though, they also come with big paychecks, and that doesn't help either. So, but anyway, so that is my 2 cents on the TNA situation. That is our major topic we were going to discuss today in this premiere episode of the Dave Dynasty Show. We're going to take a quick break right now, and we will be back in just a moment with some more.
Check out Geek Stew for all your geek and wrestling news and podcasts. Visit geek-stew.com.
All right, and we're back. All right, so this is the part of the podcast where I throw you a couple questions about some news and current events in the wrestling world. All right, are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Or you think the listeners are ready?
I don't think anybody's ready for this. All right.
All right.
So topic number 1. 2 sweepmeats to the tag team titles of Ring of Honor. The Young Bucks won the tag titles, beat the Addiction, and Christopher Daniels had a very emotional promo. I imagine he's probably in a hotel somewhere drinking himself to death because he lost those titles. What do you think?
Well, if you believe Christopher Daniels' promo, then apparently he's ready to die now, because he said the tag titles were his whole life. But first off, that promo, good Lord, let's bow to Christopher Daniels. That was the most amazing thing I've seen in a long time. Secondly, I loved it. I love the Young Bucks. I know lots of people don't like the Young Bucks. Lots of people love them.
I love them.
Lots of people don't get into the spot monkey, let's do a lot of high spot type things. I think it's okay in the context. I don't want to see it all the time. I don't want to see it everywhere else. But when the Young Bucks come out, that's what you're going to get. It's fun. Just enjoy it. Just whatever. To me, it's the same thing as when DX or NWO, which the Young Bucks obviously rip a lot off of, when they were around. It's the same thing. People did, a lot of people hated that. A lot of people loved that. I love the Young Bucks. I think they're great. I love their approach to the business, how they've built themselves as a brand. They've made some good money, and they've done it without being a part of any big company. They've done it on their own. And I think it's great. I think it's a great move for Ring of Honor, obviously, because like I said, the Young Bucks, they're popular. They're marketable. They're a very hot commodity right now. So I think it'll be a good business for Ring of Honor. So I haven't got to see that ladder match yet with the Addiction of the Motor City Machine Guns. I heard it was phenomenal. I can't wait to see it. But I'm very happy I'm great. I think it's great. I love it. I love the Bullet Club. I think it's cool.
I like the Motor City Machine Guns. Just a side note.
Yeah, well, they're a footnote in that match. So
I know they are, really. Okay, so question number 2. You ready for this one?
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you if you're ready for every question. I got to make sure you're ready. You got your brain going.
Kind of
Okay.
redundant, but that's okay.
Oh, well. This is what the viewers want. They want
What
redundancy.
are they viewing?
Viewers, listeners, whatever.
There's a difference.
Yes, there is.
Go check out another podcast on biology.
Look, I'm not supposed to be educated. I'm just supposed to ask you questions.
Clearly, that's a good thing.
Okay, question number 2. The Botchmaster, Roman Reigns, versus one of the worst stereotypical ripoffs, Rusev. Go. I should probably tell you what he did. Won the U.S.
I know
title.
what he did. He won the U.S. title. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
I'm sorry, I hate them both.
I don't like either of them either, but they did have a very, very good match. It was good.
Surprising.
Whatever.
Sensationally surprising.
But they had a good match. But number one, I don't like Roman Reigns being United States champion. I don't think he does anything for the belt. I don't think the belt does anything for him. I don't have necessarily a beef with Roman Reigns or Rusev. They're just not my style of guys. And that's okay because I understand they're there for certain people, and that's okay.
Mostly children who know nothing about wrestling.
Perhaps. Or my wife, who just thinks he has pretty eyes.
Oh, my God. Dude, she's such a mark.
Well,
Huge
she is.
mark.
She is, but that's okay.
But you are Mark for Adam Cole.
I am, baby. Adam Cole's the best.
Adam Cole, baby.
He is the greatest. But anyway, but like I said, I don't have any problem with Reigns being there and being on the show. I wish he didn't receive such a push. I wish he was not a champion. But it is what it is. And there's there's balance. Whatever, they don't write the whole show for me, and that's just the way it is. So,
I will give him one thing. I will give him one positive, is that his match with AJ Styles, like those couple matches, were absolutely sensational. Phenomenal, if you will.
yeah, but were they good because of him, or were they good because of AJ?
Oh, they're good because AJ's magical hair.
Yeah,
Man, that swoofy hair is just wonderful.
Yeah, maybe someday Reigns will earn some of my respect, but just not yet.
No.
John Cena has earned some of my respect because
John Cena is fantastic.
he is.
I don't even.
Again, he is not the kind of wrestler I like, but the guy never has a bad match.
No, never.
And I don't know why everybody claims he buries everybody, and everybody claims because he sells more than anybody in the world that I've ever seen. And
he's
makes
put over
everybody
so
look like $1
many
million.
people. Oh, yeah.
And he makes a lot of money. So, and he gives a lot back. And what is there to dislike the guy about?
Plus, he's hilarious. He's quite possibly one of the funniest people I've ever heard.
He is. He's done some very interesting little skit things here recently.
Are you sure about that? Okay, ready for the last question?
Yes.
Last and final question here. Adios, míos. Alberto Del Rio, bye-bye. He's left. He's gone. They released him. What's up with that?
Well,
it was
a
mutual.
mutual.
Yeah, it was mutual. But still, what's up with
supposedly
that?
he got suspended for 30 days, but he was on his way out anyway. He was not happy. He apparently had a clause where he could get out, and that's okay. I personally absolutely love it because I love Alberto Del Rio, and I wanted to see Alberto Del Rio back on the independents, back in Mexico.
Oh yeah,
working for the Lucha Promotions. I don't think they used him at all right from the moment he stepped in. I know he went over John Cena for the U.S. title day one, but then they put him with whatever Zeb Coulter and this, that. Then the League of Nations thing, and it was just a mess, one mess after another.
I like the League of Nations for a little bit. I wish they didn't have Rusev, but
why would he not be in it though?
Because I don't like him.
Okay.
But look. You had two other good wrestlers with him, and then you had
Wait.
you had a steaming pile of Can I say that word?
So you're calling Sheamus a good wrestler?
I don't mind Sheamus. I think his matches with Cesaro have been somewhat good. I've been enjoying those matches.
Did you know what the result of all that is? Did you know that they're now going to team Sheamus and Cesaro?
What? Against who?
I don't know. Against whoever they wrestle.
They're a tag team now? Why?
That's where it's going. Because that's.
Did they make up or something?
No,
Kiss and
that's
make
just
up
where they
on
were
stage?
forced. That was the opportunity that Mick Foley was giving them, and since they that last match was stopped and it was essentially tied 3-3, his opportunity was as a tag team. So
Okay.
I think it's intriguing.
Be a tag team or lose?
No, it's just they get to their opportunities as a tag team.
Oh, to be tag title. Okay.
I don't even think they've got a tag title shot yet, but it's just an opportunity.
It's
It's the WWE. Don't overthink it, man. It doesn't have to make a lot of sense.
Well, they obviously don't overthink anything they do.
And besides Cesaro, he's the most underutilized guy on the roster.
Oh my God, the Swiss Superman, like
Yeah, he should be main eventing, but
he should be.
We'll save that for another podcast. So
I think that's the last question.
all right, well, let's take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to have, I guess I did lie, we do have a little special guest. We will have a regular feature here on the podcast from Mance Warner, and it'll be Warner's Wisdoms when we come back.
Warner's Wisdoms.
Gather round for life lessons from professional wrestling's own Mance Warner. It's Warner Wisdom.
All right, we're live. This is the podcast, is what it is, right? A podcast. This is your man, your favorite wrestler and mine, me, the medium-sized man beast, Mance Warner. See, I'm a guy by a lot of different nicknames out here. My name is Mance Warner. I go by the king of big dog style, lariats and light beer, big doggy, if you're family, big dog, if I just know you. Right here on this podcast, this is called Warner's Wisdom. Mance Warner giving you people everyday tips on life, for the wrestling business, for everything. Just some knowledge for y'all. This is number 1. This is the first episode. This is the first podcast. It is what it is. Now hold on a second while I get me a drink of a light beer. Delicious. Now today I'm going to talk about something for the greenhorns, the greenies, green of goose shit, the brand new ones, the young boys, the young girls out here in the wrestling business. This is Locker Room Etiquette 101. When y'all walk in to the locker room, go in there, shake everybody's hand. This is a given. This is something y'all should know. If you were trained by anyone reputable, you go in and you shake the hands. Look them in the eye. If you shake my hand, you don't look me in the eye, how can I trust you? You're looking at the ground, looking above, looking all over. Go in, shake some hands. Then, it's very simple. Follow me on this, people. Go. You don't get a seat. Don't get a chair. You sit on the ground. Sit on the ground in a corner. Make some room for yourself out of my way. Out of everybody's way. Sit down in the corner. Let's go a step further. Face the wall. Look at the wall, just like when I was brought in. I ain't talking about the wrestler wall. I'm talking about the wall. And I was brought in, you face the wall. Until someone tells you that you could turn around. Sit there, face the wall, shut your face, shut it up. Let them ears be open, let them eyes be open. There you go. It's all you got to do, man. It's it. Sit there, shut up, face the wall. Now, if you really want to get over, you want old Mancer to put you over and tell everyone on the internet, on the, what's the other one? What am I looking for here? The Twitter, the grammar, whatever it is, on the net, on the boards, on Observer. Want me to put you over? You come in rocking a fanny pack, bro. You bring a fanny pack, pop that sucker open, and you give me some goodies. You bring me some light beer, you bring me some goodies, man. You do that, I'll put you over to everybody. And ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, like I said, this is episode 1. I'm going to have more and more for y'all. Just listen and learn, people. That's all you got to do. That's Warner's Corner right now. Let me take that back. I had a couple of light beers, man. Warner's Wisdom. It's episode 1. I'll come back at you with 2, 3, 4, whatever we're going up to.
and hola to you, amigos.
How about that Mance Warner?
Mance
He's a
Warner.
dude, isn't he?
Man, I love Mance Warner.
We could just get him to stop drinking light beer, man. That's just like
He drinks light beer.
he drinks light beer. Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah.
Mance
yeah.
Warner, call him Dance Warner.
Oh,
Ooh.
you really want to
I don't know. He's a little scary.
mid-sized man beast? You really want to call that out?
I was like, I'm like a half pint mouse beast over here. That's a little weird.
Pint mouse beast. Okay.
That's my new name, half pint
Oh.
mouse beast. All
Yeah,
right.
you might want to listen to future podcasts because there at some point might be a little bit of a showdown from Mance Warner between Mance Warner and Ike Isaacs.
Hey, if he wants to, I mean, I'm ready.
That's okay because as soon as we're done, I'm literally going to message or text him that you're talking smack and to listen to the first episode.
All right, you can do that, and tell him to hit me up on Facebook.
He'll hit you somewhere.
Hit me up, slide on my DMs.
You're the dude Larry. It's the little kids, right?
Dude, Larry's little kids.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
I'm not a little kid though, so I think I'm safe.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see.
So let's jump into our next segment before I get myself any deeper in this hole. So we have some viewer
They're
questions.
not viewers.
I said it on purpose.
That's just ridiculous.
Listener
And wait a minute, we
questions.
don't even have listeners yet, so.
Okay, not technical listeners, but they're fans of yours. They're Dave
Oh.
Dynasty fans.
Oh, okay.
We have these wonderful questions from the Dave Dynasty fans, and
Oh.
are you ready for them? We're going to do a couple. Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So the first one is about you. By the way, these are not his opinions necessarily. These are about him, his own views and ideals. Are you ready?
Isn't a view an opinion?
Maybe. Ready?
Yes.
What was the exact moment that made you a wrestling fan?
The exact moment?
The exact moment.
I
Date, time,
don't know if I know
weather.
the exact moment. But here's how it started. When I was a wee little squirt, I would venture to guess that I was, maybe only even 5 years old, 6 years old.
Like Jesus was still on the
And I
earth.
would, Mance Warner, you can just kick his ass all you want. Oh, my. So, really, so now it's going to be a handicap thing, right? Mance Warner with Dave Dynasty in his corner. Oh, boy. Anyway,
I'll give me some.
So I went to my grandmother's all the time, and my grandmother was a professional wrestling fan. And she would watch the WWF, and I would watch it with her, and I was immediately hooked. This was probably around 80, 81. So
80 or BC.
and yeah, it's a good thing you're not viewers to see the glare that I'm giving him right now. But and then she also watched a lot of the stuff out of Louisville, which had Lawler and all those guys, and I don't know exactly what hooked me. All of it hooked me because I was a fan of superheroes and all these things, and these were like real life superheroes on my screen. These larger than life guys that were doing these amazing things, and it just took off from there. I would literally watch and read and consume and buy anything to do with professional wrestling from there on out, and so I don't know the exact moment or exactly who it was, but it was all due to my grandmother many years ago. We're talking
Many.
36 years ago.
Many years ago.
Longer than you've been in existence, so show a little respect. All right, give me another one.
Ready for the next question?
Yes.
All right. When you were a child, did you talk to Jesus? Was he in your schoolroom, your classroom?
No, but if I had, I would have asked him for your salvation and protection because you're going to need it. So
All right. Seriously, though.
I
Next
couldn't
question.
talk to Jesus because the dinosaurs were in the way.
As a dinosaur. Okay, that's understandable. All right, next question. Why do you love Mexican wrestling so damn much?
Well, why would I not? I mean, what is not to love about Lucha Libre?
It's just wonderful.
It is. See, Lucha Libre, to me, came just a few years after discovering wrestling, in the mid-'80ish time period, when these humongous satellite dishes were all the rage. And my parents had one, and my grandmother had one also.
Your TV still had backs on them and stuff.
They did, yeah. And I would thumb through the channels, and I would just literally just try to find anything I could find wrestling, right? And I happened upon wrestling on one of the Spanish stations, and it immediately just hooked me. I mean, the masks, the color, the style, the excitement, the passion of the fans. And, of course, the eternal question that I always ask myself as a child is, why do they have so many damn six-man matches? Known as trios matches, but it was confusing to me as a child. But I was hooked instantly, and I've watched it ever since. And to this day, that all that color and all that excitement and all that style and all this wonderment and the culture and everything else, it literally just makes me feel like a kid again. And I watch it less critically than I do of any other wrestling. And just am able to kind of just sit back and enjoy it, and it's just amazing. That's the only reason, because it's the best. That's why.
Yeah, I would have to concur with that. All right, you ready for your last question?
Gosh, yes, I am ready.
You ready? You're like, I'm ready to get done talking to this fool.
Yep.
All right. Out of all wrestlers, who is your favorite and why?
Well, at the route we're going, my favorite wrestler might be Mance Warner, because I will be rooting very strongly against you. My favorite wrestler, I think we've already touched on this earlier. My favorite wrestler is Adam Cole, baby. And I think the guy has all the tools and all the talent. I love watching him. But I'm also a huge fan of, I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I love Kevin Owens. I love Seth Rollins and all those, Sami Zayn, all those guys date back to watching them, pre-WWE, and I love. Right now, a guy that I've always kind of liked a bit, but right now I am super huge marking out for is Chris Jericho. The stuff he's doing right now as a heel is just, it's fabulous. It's great. I love it. And yeah. So anyway, but my favorite is Adam Cole.
You know, to say you actually got to see Adam Cole join the Bullet Club.
I did, yeah.
That's a
great.
fun fact.
That was classic.
We were at that pay-per-view, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, we've seen Adam Cole several times now. Met him, got my autograph.
You did.
Wept a little. That was when man crushed on him, and
that was when he was still a face, wasn't it?
Yeah, remember we got to see him ride on the back of someone's wheelchair. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
He climbed on the back of someone's wheelchair and rode, and
because Adam Cole's the best.
That is the things you'll only see at an independent live wrestling show.
That's why they're the best, and the fans. I mean, like,
yeah. Like the time. Wait, was that the same? I don't think that was the same show. I think it was an earlier show. When I had to excuse myself from the building and went around out back in the parking lot and bought a T-shirt from Silas Young.
That was shady, dude. Silas Young's the man, but man, that was shady.
Well, he was a heel, though. He couldn't just come out
and
sell it. And I had already made arrangements to buy it, so it's like, go around back, and there's Silas. Hey, man, how you doing? Buy a T-shirt from you.
Hey, kid, you want to buy a T-shirt?
Yeah, it was pretty weird, because it was very dark outside, and I was like, kind of afraid I'd walk up to the wrong person. It's like, hey, man, you got the shirt?
They'd be like, is this a drug deal?
No, it was good. It was fun.
He's a cool guy, though. He's probably one of my favorite Ring of Honor wrestlers.
Yeah, he's great.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think that's the end of our questions from our viewers.
Is that it?
I believe so.
That means we're done with episode 1. That is the conclusion of our introductory episode.
And I've already made too many enemies.
Yeah, I've already said an inappropriate word, and you've already heel turned on all of us. Welcome to professional wrestling.
Holla.
What? Okay, now you turned into Teddy Long.
Well,
it's a good thing we're done.
What's up, player?
Because you've already been Ron, Farouk or Ron Simmons or whatever, and now you're doing Teddy Long. And
holla.
Oh Lord, it's not even relevant. Oh,
it doesn't have to be. It's wrestling.
No, I guess not. So Ike, do you want to give out your social media contacts? Do you want to tell people where they can follow you on Twitter if they want to follow you this ridiculousness on a regular basis? Basics? What the hell?
This is the basic thugonomics. Word live.
That's when Cena was the man with the chain, and he would come out and rap.
Man, I'm just all over these references.
Yeah, I guess. Do you want to give your Twitter?
Well, I think I'm gonna have to create a new one because I don't want these weird people following me on my real Twitter. So
and the heel turn just gets deeper.
Hey, if I'm going full throttle, I might as well. Seriously though.
Okay, so when we get done here, we're going to try to establish a new Twitter. We're going to try to establish Ike Isaacs.
Yes.
At Ike Isaacs. IKEISAACS.
Yes, sir.
So as soon as you hear this, see if that Twitter is available, and just send him lots of dick pics.
Jesus Christ! No, don't do that. Jesus.
Flood him with inappropriate material.
If I get...
You know what's funny? I told you couldn't say certain things, and I have caused us to have to get the explicit marking on the show.
You said dick.
It's because you heel turned on me,
Yeah,
and now I'm doing the baby face rage.
the babyface rage, the John Cena rage.
Yeah.
I
Are you in love with John Cena?
I love John
literally
Cena.
Are making.
I love John Cena, man. Have you seen the movie he's in with Amy Schumer? I hate Amy Schumer, but I love John Cena.
Amy Schumer. What's wrong with Amy Schumer?
Oh,
That's for another podcast.
Yeah, that's for another podcast.
So anyway, that is it for the first episode of the Dave Dynasty Show. Remember, lots of inappropriate nakedness sent to @Ike Isaacs on Twitter. You can find me at the Dave Dynasty on various platforms: Twitter, Facebook. I don't know. I think I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, but my Instagram is weird because I think my old Instagram got hacked and
Really?
shut down. It was so weird. I got an
Hacked?
email. I got an email that someone had changed the password on it, and when I went and tried to send a reset thing to my email, they said the account no longer existed. So whoever did,
Oh,
like,
that's odd. That's strange. Do you have a
It is.
MySpace too?
I,
You know, because you're pretty old. I mean, like, people still have MySpace.
Yeah.
Do people still have MySpace?
I don't know, but I did have a MySpace at one time.
Did
But
you?
I do not anymore. It might still be out there, but
Well, I think mine is too. I don't,
I
know
don't
the
know
password to it.
even begin to know how to find it. So anyway, the best way to reach me, the best way to follow me is at the Dave Dynasty on Twitter. That is it for episode 1. I am Dave Dynasty.
And I am Ike Isaacs,
The little punk over there is Ike Isaacs, yes.
the official heel turn.
I guess. And we will see you next episode.
Adios.